everyone, I hope you had a wonderful weekend, and if you didn't see it over the weekend, I did record an episode on Saturday, so you can take a look at that if you have extra time today. But for Monday, for week 2, day 6, if we're still counting, we're going to be doing what we think we are. I want us to focus on positive, encouraging words to ourselves. Maybe at this point in this social isolation, we need to start thinking about positive words, thinking ourselves in a positive light. I don't know about you, but I was really on track those first few days, and then I slipped up a little bit, so maybe we need to get back on track. What's important? Who are we? And what can we bring to this world? So let's get started. Today you can use, again, any medium you have in the house. I want to talk about these big packs that a lot of people have in their house. They're not the best quality. You can see even, I have this old pack, it's literally falling apart, but it still works. Today I want to do a little bit with these watercolors, and I'll be showing you that in a bit. So if you have any watercolors at home, or if you have any kind of liquid medium, even like you have some ink, we can talk about watering those down and using them in today's project. If you don't, no worries, it's okay. You can use markers, color pencils, crayons, but I want to show some other mediums today. So the first thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be putting lines across our page. And we want to be thinking today about who are we, what's important to us. These lines can go any way we want. If you end up making a line you don't care for it, like this one, I'll show you how to go back and change it. So we can think about wavy lines, curvy lines, zigzag lines. I'm gonna keep them mostly wavy. I'm thinking about the ocean, thinking about a landscape. And so we're gonna start by going back to those lines. If you wanna make them thicker, if you want to correct any of them, my markers have the double tipped. If you don't have that, you just take your time, go back, fill them in. When you're adding these thicker and thinner lines, this is going to be adding some visual interest. This is the foundation of your art. So take your time. I did that first thin line. It sets up my expectations. Where do I want my lines to go? How do I want the feeling of this? Now again, you can change up your colors. You can go in and start to layer these. Remember, blending colors, we put the colors on top of each other. This is the foundation. So let's give it a good, nice, solid base. Remember, the whole point of this is that we want to relax, have a little bit of fun together. If we're, having a stressful day or we're a little overwhelmed, we can take a moment together and make some calm lines. That's all we're thinking about right now, is the calm lines. This is where you can get some options. If you want to go in, make a mixed media, you can add some color pencil or some crayon to this. Remember, this is just my example. I don't want yours to look like mine. I want you to create your own ideas, your own thoughts. If you just want to go in with one black marker and make these lines, that's fine. I want to see what you create. I always tell my students that. I don't like to see you go through with exactly what I've done. That's why a lot of times I don't even finish these projects, because I don't want you to know what the end should look like, because there is no should. There is no this is the right answer, this is the wrong answer. It's not math, this is art. How do you want to create? Now, in my opinion, the more you layer these colors, the more you layer the supplies, the more interesting it starts to look. And I love these gel pens, so I might hit some highlighted areas. And so for the meat of this project, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be putting in I am and then words that describe you throughout this, and we're going to make them fit. I recommend you do this part in pencil. In case you make a mistake, you can erase it. I'm going to do it in pen so it's a little bit easier for you to see. So you're going to put I am or you can put your name, however you'd like to do this part. And you're gonna fill it going, you're gonna act like this is your line. Now for younger students, you know, if you need to help them write or just listen to them and then you write it and then they can go back and trace it. Tracing is great when it comes to lettering. So I'm gonna put, and I'm gonna follow these lines with the letters. You can go back to them later. You can choose what kind of lettering you wanna do. I like just straight, all caps letters. I find that it's easier to fill in the space. Now remember, you can either put your name, and I know you normally do the 3 dots for the ellipses. I'm gonna continue them all the way down the page. Now these aren't filling up the space, so maybe I wanna go back and think about lines in this area. I can come back to that later. So I am, and now you start picking words. What are you? What are things, affirmations you need to tell yourself to get through this time? So I'm gonna start with creative. And this is where you can be creative even with your lettering. I'm not gonna put anything else on this line. I'm just gonna continue that E, maybe make this one a little bit longer. And now I can think about my next word, creative. And it could be a series of words. I'm gonna put hardworking. Now these might take you a little bit of time to come up with. I had to pause the video for a second. I'm like, oh my goodness, what word should I say next? I don't know. And this is where, you know, younger students, you can help them out. You can be doing this writing for them. You know, just having them think about what words describe them, that's challenging. Especially when I'm putting this online and I'm like, oh, everyone's gonna be able to see what I think. Ah, it's a little scary. Sometimes I forget to bring those letters all the way down, so I'm gonna continue them now. And depending on which way you put your paper, you might be able to fit more than one on one line, so I'm gonna fit 2. And maybe I could put something in between, or I could just leave a little space. And if you're worried about going off the edge of your paper with your marker, feel free to put what I call like a bleed paper right here underneath, so you can bleed off the edge. If you're on a table you don't care about, then you don't need to worry about that. And there I have all my words. So now with younger students, you can encourage them, go back. How would they want to, you know, retrace the letters, either in the same color or a different color or a different medium. But I do encourage you, if you wrote it for your child, to have them go over it, or at least some of it. Maybe if they don't want to go over all of it, or that's difficult for them, have them pick one word. Like, what word, ask them, what word describes you the most? You picked 3 words. And that way they can retrace that one word. And that way, you know, art isn't always just about being creative or making art. Sometimes we practice other aspects of education within this class. So take that time to practice handwriting and letters. So remember, these paints are gonna be really dry. If you have these watercolors, if you have any kind of watercolor, they look dry. So you're gonna take a cup of water. I tell my kids, you dip your brush into the water, then you tap it gently on the side. You don't want your brush dripping with water that's too wet. So you tap it gently on the side, And now you bring it to your paint and you pet it like it's a cat. Think about it like you're petting your cat or your dog. You're not gonna scrub it like it's a dirty dish. You're gently touching the paint. You should never press your bristles, let me see if I can show you, all the way down like this. That's way too hard. You don't need to use that much pressure. Lightly taking it to the paint. And now I can bring it and I can decide how do I wanna use, how opaque. The more you touch your paint, the darker it's going to be, or the more opaque it's going to be. If you don't want your blue that dark, then don't touch it that many times. Go 1, 2, 3 strokes, that's it. Now, if you want to continue with the blue, don't go back in the water and get more. You have so much on your brush. Use it. Even if I'm not going to do it here, maybe I'm going to continue the blue right here. Use it until it stops. Once you're done with your color, you swoosh it around. You gently tap it to the side. Make sure you don't have too much water. And now you can go on to your other color. Now, same thing with these watercolor as your crayons, as your color pencils. When you put them on top of each other, they're gonna be more interesting. So you can still blend them. I recommend you don't blend them in your tray though. Blend them on your paper, blend them on a separate piece. Feel free to get creative. Use your finger to pull the paints around. Use another dry brush to pull the paints if you wanna do some blending with it. I'm liking how that's looking. Maybe I'll do it the opposite way over here. I want you to express yourself. I want you to play, have some freedom with this. Don't worry about what's right and wrong. Think about what colors represent you. I kind of like how it's fading out right there. I know I'm pushing a little bit harder than I told you, but that's okay. So now all you're gonna do, you're gonna continue on however you wanna fill up the space. If you think, you know what, I don't want any more color, I don't need any more color, that's fine, then stop. Sometimes in art, finding the right place to stop, that's the hardest. I never know, sometimes I overwork a drawing or a painting because I didn't stop soon enough. If you're just doing this on regular printer paper and you are using watercolors, be careful you don't use too much water, otherwise you're gonna get a warp to your paper. So that's all I have for you today. Feel free to continue coloring it. Use crayons, colored pencils, markers, paints, anything you have. If you have any questions, you can always shoot me a message and ask me about a particular supply you have in your home, and I can help you work on that. Thank you for joining today. I hope you had a great time expressing yourselves, thinking about some words that really reflect you in a positive light. Maybe some things we can work on, some things we can grow together. But I hope you took this time to be calm, to reflect, and to use art as a positive outlook on life. So tune in tomorrow, and if you haven't already, like, subscribe, comment. I really appreciate all that. Share this with your friends because everyone really needs to be making art at this time. All right, have a good Monday. Thank you.